Hello, my name is Fernando Lopez Canseco Jr. I go by Fernando. I was born August 16, 1978 in San Antonio, Texas at the Methodist Hospital. I do have an older sister, Patricia. She's older by 5 years. Um, I have three biological children, uh, Fernando the third, which is 12, Faith, my daughter, she's 4, and my son Maxim, he's 2 years old. And I also have three stepchildren that live with me. My oldest is who lives with me. My other two live with their mother. I currently live in Corpus Christi, Texas, but have lived in different cities in Texas, including McAllen, Laredo, even gone back to San Antonio where I was born, and always and usually in between there have come back to Corpus as well. I've been I do one of the greatest things I like or love about Corpus is the fact that we have a beach, an ocean, and that we can drive on that said beach and ocean, up to 60 miles past a certain point, and it's beautiful waters out there, beautiful fishing. So that's one great thing that I love about Corpus Christi. Um, I've been a paramedic for 18 years now. Yeah, I started straight out of high school, took some business classes, and um, throughout the years that I was living in those cities, I also were working. I was working as an EMT basic when I started, as an intermediate, and of course as a paramedic when I received that patch. I've gone to school throughout that period of time, and it was all through um, where I was at the time and living. I was always continuing my education as I was working full time as well. Worked for Edinburgh EMS. I've worked for Jim Hall County EMS in Hebronville, Texas. Worked with them for 4 years as a paramedic. Um, Worked for various private ambulance services in San Antonio. No other ambulance service in Corpus other than Reliable Ambulance, but I've also done some volunteer work for Eagle Creek EMS. They were a real small EMS where it was volunteer work, of course, and it was a lot of trauma, a lot of car accidents. There was major highways, so I got a lot of good experience out there, and I did that for a year while I was living in San Antonio. Eagle Creek was about a 35-minute drive, 45-minute drive from where I live. So I did that during the days that I was off from my work schedule, my work job. I at Again, I am a paramedic, but for the last 12 years I was running an ambulance company here in town, which ultimately was a family business, and anything from billing to managerial to books, accounts payable, accounts receivable. I've done a lot. I've learned a lot from that, and being with them for 22 years, working in that industry. Um, I graduated from high school here in Corpus from Mary Carroll back in 1997. That was a long time ago. And I went straight to college, went straight to get my EMT basic and get some certain classes out of the way that I needed. In the same process of having some fun, I did attend Del Mar College right off the beginning, and then I went to Bryan, Texas. I don't remember the name of the school out there, but I think it was Blinn College, and I did some business courses out there and some minor EMT courses out there as well. And then I came back to Corpus Christi and continued my education at Del Mar. Where I finished my paramedic, that's where I received my certification. Uh, and my all my classes were from Del Mar in the paramedic program uh, back many years ago. Um, One of the most memorable courses that I remember taking for the EMS program there at Del Mar was with Mr. Darren LaCroix, who was a Corpus Christi firefighter, and his his hands-on with students was just outstanding. I really enjoyed him. Um, he was also a paramedic firefighter, like I said, for the city of Corpus, and the class name was assessment-based management, where you had to figure out what you had to do in a time of uh, emergency or trauma, and he really put us to the test, and it was just enjoyable in the sense of his knowledge. He knew so much. I learned so much from that man. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that course. Um, Other things about me, I guess I have some hobbies. I like motorcycling. I do have a Harley Davidson motorcycle that I like to ride around, take long trips with. I also like RVing. I have a 30-foot travel trailer that I enjoy taking to RV parks and enjoying weekend getaways with those instead of staying at your traditional hotel. Or, maybe find some campgrounds that you can have a bonfire with and a cookout, things like that. As far as motorcycling goes, uh, that is one of my favorite things to do. It's everything from traveling just to go have a hamburger and just jumping on a motorcycle and head it that way is things like I'd love to do. I've traveled Louisiana State Highway 1 from north to south. I can say that I did that on a motorcycle, and I enjoy taking those long rides, especially with the motorcycle I have. The entire hill country area in Texas is also very beautiful. I enjoy riding that very much, and that's a very short trip for me. 2.5 hours you're there, and you ride the rest of the day. You stay at a hotel around the area, and you keep riding the hill country and just enjoying dive bars and diners and different foods, of course, that I've seen on TV is something I like to do. Uh, but I also spending time at the beach. Is one of the things Corpus does have. I take my much needed companion Rocky. He's a family pit bull. He heads to the beach with us on occasion. I like taking him. He loves the waves, so it's very nice. Um, some things that I value most, about I guess all of us in general, uh, the well-being of my family. My dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, my kids, even my ex-wife. Just because she's the mother of my kids, I care about everybody like that, and I worry about that. But the loyalty and courage people have, I think that's also um, things that I value most about people and about self-being. That you're courageous, that you're loyal to what you say, that you do. You're loyal to people, and that you love your family. Certain goals that I have to look forward to. What I hope to gain from this class is a better speaking manner or communication that way, because 18 years of speaking to dying patients in my arms sometimes, or just a different scene and going to the career that I'm pursuing, it's gonna be different. This term's long term. I'm headed to be an RN, and going from emergency care to being a long term care is a little bit different, I hear, but it's definitely gonna. I hope this class will help me uh, in dealing with that, or the transition of it at least. Ultimate career goals is to be a travel nurse. Me and my wife want to travel. Uh, we now use the RV for different trips, but we definitely would love to travel when our kids are gone and grown. The United States as nurses and work in different spots 6 months at a time. I think that'll be very interesting, and scenery will never get boring, and we'll always see road, and we'll meet different people. Uh, I think that's definitely an ultimate career goal, is to be a travel nurse, travel RN. Short-term goals that I like to look forward to is to get my RN right now. I I believe working 20 years plus in an industry is a long time, and I started young. And uh, this when I graduated from high school, I wanted to be an RN, but I got into the emergency care field. Um, I enjoyed it a lot. So, but this is my short-term goals is to finish the RN program. Um, One of my long-term goals is to visit each United State here in America, um, and travel a lot in those areas. Of course, you know, overseas traveling is never going to be something that I will object to either. But as far as working and doing what we got to do, yes, I would love to be a traveler and visit each of the United States. Um, okay, thank you.